At the hotel, nobody understood the millionaire Japanese woman, till the black maid. Beginning, the arrival. The Grand Astrolese Hotel was no ordinary hotel, perched on the edge of Neo-Tokyo's Sky District. It looked less like a building and more like a vertical city carved from glass and starlight. The top floors reached so high, they pierced the atmosphere, giving the privileged guests a view of Earth's curve below. It was a place where the richest humans, androids, and interstellar travelers stayed when they wanted both privacy and prestige. The staff whispered about every new guest who arrived. That week, their attention turned to a woman whose presence commanded more silence than gossip, Ms. Aika Nakamura. Aika was no ordinary guest. She was a millionaire investor from Japan, her fortune rooted in biotech and off-world colonization. At only 35, her name was known across every boardroom in Asia. Yet, she traveled alone without bodyguards, assistants, or even family. When she checked into the Astrolese, she booked the entire lunar wing, 3 floors of rooms no one else would enter for as long as she stayed. Her beauty was sharp, almost otherworldly. Pale skin like porcelain, raven black hair that flowed past her shoulders, and eyes that glimmer with a silver tint, as if they reflected more than light. When she walked through the gilded lobby, guests paused mid-conversation, not sure whether to admire her or fear her. But her presence was cold. She rarely spoke, and when she did, her voice carried the tone of someone exhausted by the weight of secrets. The staff muttered behind her back, "She thinks she's better than everyone. She doesn't even smile. She's hiding something, maybe something illegal." Only one person on the staff didn't join the whispers, Naomi Carter, a maid newly hired by the Astrolese. Naomi was a tall, striking black woman from Lagos, Nigeria. She'd come to Neo-Tokyo to support her younger siblings back home, and she was grateful for the job, even if it meant scrubbing after people who barely noticed her existence. Unlike the others, she didn't mock Aika from afar. She watched her carefully, quietly, sensing something was wrong. Not arrogance, but loneliness. It wasn't until the 3rd night that Naomi discovered just how right she was. Middle, the secret of the millionaire. Naomi had been assigned to clean the lunar wing, which was odd because normally no staff were allowed there. The system glitched, and she received a maintenance request for room 8902, one of Aika's reserved suites. When Naomi entered, she expected silence, perhaps an empty room. Instead, she froze. The suite's walls flickered with holographic projections of alien star systems, pulsating maps that shifted in real time. Strange symbols floated in the air, glowing softly in languages Naomi didn't recognize. In the middle of the room stood Aika, not in her elegant gowns, but in a fitted black suit embedded with tiny circuits that glowed along her skin. She was manipulating the projections with her hands, moving galaxies like chess pieces. Naomi gasped before she could stop herself. Aika turned sharply, her silver eyes locking onto the maid. For a moment, Naomi thought she'd be fired, or worse. But instead of anger, Aika's expression softened. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. Naomi swallowed hard. "The system, it sent me. I didn't mean..." Before she could finish, one of the holograms began to hum, and an inhuman voice filled the air. Transmission complete. Time remaining, 21 days. Naomi's skin prickled. What is this?" Aika hesitated, then sighed, lowering her hands. She looked tired, more fragile than the cold millionaire the staff believed her to be. "It doesn't matter anymore," Aika said quietly. "You've seen too much. Maybe it's time someone did." She motioned for Naomi to sit. Against all reason, Naomi obeyed, and so the truth spilled out. Aika Nakamura wasn't just a millionaire. She was the last surviving member of an off-world experiment, a secret project her parents had joined decades earlier. The Nakamura family had been selected to live among a distant alien civilization, the Alithians, who existed in a fragile alliance with humanity. While most humans couldn't survive their world's harsh conditions, the Nakamuras were genetically modified with Alithian DNA. Aika was a child of that experiment, a hybrid, neither fully human nor alien. That explained her strange eyes, her aura, and her extraordinary fortune. Much of her wealth came not from clever investments, but from technologies Alithians shared with her. But there was a cost. The Alithians had sent a warning through her bloodline. Earth's experiments had failed. The hybrid DNA was unstable. Unless corrected, Aika's body and her mind would collapse within 21 days. That was the countdown Naomi had heard. "I came here to finish my affairs," Aika admitted, "to prepare to disappear. No one would understand. They'd call me a fraud, a monster. That's why I keep to myself." Naomi stared, her chest heavy. For once, she wasn't cleaning up someone else's mess. She was holding a secret that could shatter the world. And for reasons she couldn't explain, she refused to let Aika face it alone. The turning point. From that night, Naomi became the only person Aika trusted. While the rest of the hotel gossiped, Naomi slipped into the lunar wing, bringing meals, tea, and quiet company. She asked questions no one else would dare. Do you feel more human or more alien? Do you regret what they did to you? Do you want to fight this, or do you want peace? Aika, who had built walls taller than the astrolese itself, began to answer. She confessed that she often dreamed in alien tongues, saw visions of star systems she had never visited, and felt a constant ache in her bones, as if her body didn't belong to gravity. She confessed that she had considered ending her life early, before the collapse overtook her. Naomi listened without judgment. Sometimes she gave advice, sometimes only silence, but it was enough. One night, as the countdown reached 10 days, Naomi asked something different. Why me, Aika? Why tell me all this? Aika looked at her for a long time, then said softly, because you don't look at me like I'm less human. Naomi's throat tightened. She thought of her own struggles, the way people in Neo-Tokyo looked at her skin, and assumed she was a servant, not someone with a family, not someone with dreams. She realized with a pang that she and Aika were both trapped in bodies the world misunderstood. That night, a bond was sealed between them, not class or wealth, but of recognition. The final days. As the countdown neared its end, the projections in Aika's suite grew brighter, almost frantic. The Alithians had sent a final solution. They offered to extract her hybrid DNA and upload her consciousness into an Alithian vessel orbiting Earth. She could live on, but she would never return. It meant abandoning her human side forever. Naomi watched her pace the room, torn between worlds. If you leave, Naomi said quietly, you'll survive, but you'll lose yourself. Aika clenched her fists. And if I stay, I'll die. Then maybe, Naomi whispered, you need to decide which kind of death matters more, the one where your body ends or the one where your soul does. The words hung heavy in the air. On the final night, with the countdown at 1 hour, Aika stood at the window of the lunar wing, gazing at Earth's curve below. Naomi stood beside her, holding her hand firmly. Whatever you choose, Naomi said, you won't face it alone. For the first time, Aika smiled, ending the choice. When the clock struck 0, the Alithian holograms ignited, filling the room with blinding silver light. A portal shimmered in the air, a doorway to the vessel above. Naomi squeezed Aika's hand. Go, if that's what you want. But Aika shook her head. Her silver eyes softened, almost human now. No, she said. For the first time, I feel understood here. If I leave, I'll lose that. Maybe dying as who I am is better than living as someone else. She stepped back from the portal. The light dimmed, flickered, and vanished. Silence filled the room. Naomi's eyes welled with tears. She had no words, only the ache of watching someone choose their fate. Aika's body began to tremble, her hybrid DNA unraveling. But she leaned against Naomi, whispering, thank you for seeing me. And when her final breath came, it was not with fear, but with peace. The hotel staff would never know the truth. They would remember Aika Nakamura as the cold millionaire who booked entire wings for herself. They would gossip for years. But Naomi would carry the real story, the story of a woman who wasn't understood by anyone until her. In the end, the Astrolese Hotel wasn't just a place of wealth. It was a place where two strangers, worlds apart, gave each other the one thing they had been denied their whole lives: understanding. And though Aika's body was gone, Naomi swore that her story would never be forgotten.